man who has the right touch on some of the best fillies and mares we've ever seen race, is going to be joining us right now. We're going to have the Delaware Handicap coming up this weekend. Songbird, the two-time champion, back in action. She goes for the 13th win of her career in that Delaware Handicap. You'll see it live here on Belmont Park Live. Show same time, 4 to 6 Eastern. Our slow featuring the Kent and the Forbidden Apple. Mike Smith, the Hall of Famer, the only pilot who's ever been aboard Songbird, joins us on the show right now. Mike, great to have you on. Thanks for taking some time to spend with us. Let's start with Songbird and her return. It was right here at Belmont Park in the Ogden Phipps. It was her first start since that nose defeat on Breeders' Cup Day. What impressed you most about her in that comeback effort? Because she did get tested a little bit that day.
Just that, getting tested her first race back and being able to handle that and go on and win, well within herself. Didn't have to get after her too much, and it was kind of a race that we thought that should move her forward. Again, you don't know that until you finish the race, and she seemed to come back even better than we were expecting. So far she's been training really well, and we're excited about running her on Saturday.
Mike, you had paid-up subscriber who was running a very gallant race in defeat there, yet you were extremely confident throughout. How did she feel?
She felt great. I mean, I felt, that I had that filly at all times. My main concern was maybe if Carrie Mia maybe came flying down the middle of the racetrack or something like that where I couldn't get out to her and engage her. But I took a peek under my arm, and no one was coming, so I didn't have to ask her for any more than what I had to ask her for. And like I said, it was a great race for her to come back in with some very talented fillies and was able to handle that. So hopefully we should step on up, and the ideal thing would be to go to 1.25 miles second time off of a layoff, but it is what it is. And if she, does get a little tired anyway, I would certainly think her talent would make up for it.
Yeah, you almost didn't have to really worry about it too much, at least as far as the 1.25 miles goes on Saturday, Mike, because you know that she can get that distance based on the Alabama last summer at Saratoga. It almost looked like in that Phipps that we just looked at, you have that in the back of your mind, though? Maybe you're saving a little something because you really didn't get after this filly too hard in the Phipps.
No, it was her first race back, and, she was just doing just enough and was content. And she had that filly at bay and was actually kind of just started to leave her a little bit at the end, and no one was making a run at her. So, I mean, it was all we had to do.
Well, Mike, I hear that you constantly hear from some of the great jockeys of all time that just want to talk Songbird. You hear from Pat Day, Chris McCarron, Bailey, Jacinto Vasquez, who rose Ruffian. She is such a special filly. You've been on some of the greats of all time, though. Azeri, Zenyatta, of course, Inside Information. What makes Songbird so special, and where do you think she does rank among the best that you've been aboard?
Well, yeah, I've been so blessed to have ridden so many great fillies, and in their own time. I mean, no one was good. No one was beating them. It took, Beholder's one of her best, if not one of her best races, but not her best, to get the job done. So that goes to show you how great this young filly is. And with this year coming in, she seemed to have grown. She looks better. If she's able to finish the year out as well as we started it, she could certainly go down as one of the greats. It's not the greatest, but she'll certainly be, mentioned in the top 5 great fillies of all times, I would imagine. If she could finish her year out strong and continue to do what she's doing with only one nose defeat, I mean, what else can you do?
How special would this race be, Mike, if you could do it for Mr. Porter over at Delaware Park for him?
Well, yeah, exactly. He's been wanting to win this race. He's from Delaware. He's won just about everything there is there, excluding this race, and certainly he wants it really bad. And it would mean a lot to all of us, not only to Songbird, but really more so to Mr. Porter. Really, this is for him, and hopefully we can go over there and do what she does best, and that's run well and run fast and get the job done.
Well, Rick Porter's been going there since he was a kid, and he's a native, of course, of Wilmington, Delaware, so it certainly would be special. Mike, he actually had Havre de Grace, who would go on to face males, beat them in the Woodward back in 2011. He has hinted at the fact that at some point, maybe Songbird would go on to face the boys, maybe the Woodward. Is that something that you would want to see happen with her?
I don't necessarily would want to see. I don't really think that she has to do anything at this point, her career to make her any better. I mean, she is who she is. Everyone knows that, given the right situation, she can certainly beat the boys. That's never been a thought in my mind, to be honest with you. But if they want to face them and she's up for it and doing well and ready to do it, well, that's fine as well too. But I don't think it's going to make her any better or any worse anyway.
You won this.
There's nothing wrong with beating the greatest fillies in the country. There's nothing wrong with that as well.
You had a pretty easy time in this race with Royal Delta. Could you imagine that one have gone? And you won by, I believe, by like 10 and three quarters. We're showing the first of the two wins. This one was a little bit tighter, but it got a little bit easier. Obviously, Songbird's going to be a massive favorite on Saturday. But talk about that win with Royal Delta.
Yeah, the first time, all went really well. Jumped very well. Was out on an easy, comfortable lead, and then just had him. At the time, she was probably at her. She was really doing well. She was peaking really, really good, and just ran a monster race that day. I think she could have beat just about anybody that afternoon. She went well within herself. And the second time we ran there, she had a few little obstacles to overcome, and she probably won at her best, but still was good enough to go ahead, and that certainly wasn't her A race, and she still pulled it off. Although the competition doesn't seem near as strong, you still got to do your job, and she's got to go out there and do all the little things right. Things got to go right, and if that happens, I look for her to run really big. She's been training really well since her first race back.
Well, she is absolutely something special. We're going to be privileged to be bringing everybody to the race this Saturday. Mike Smith, we appreciate you coming on. Best of luck this Saturday and the rest of the year. We look forward to it.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, and we're excited about Saturday, so we'll see what happens.